and welcome to the Audacious Path Show, a micro podcast of courage, resilience, and inspiration. I am your host, Andrea Scott Brown. Thank you so much for joining us, where our podcast is perfectly imperfect and frequently infrequent. This pocket-sized podcast is here as an inspirational nugget for you in this moment. Today, Erin Berry is a guest on the Audacious Path Show. Erin considers herself the pleasure priestess and is a somatic sexologist and relationship coach, embodiment teacher, and retreat leader. I'm so excited to hear a little bit more about Erin and her story. Welcome to the show, Erin.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for having me on your show. I am so excited to share this with your listeners.
Yes, it really is great to have you on the show today. I am really glad that you're here. And I know that you wanted to talk with us a little bit about the segment of the Audacious Path Compass that we call Intimate Relationships and Emotions. And so tell us a little bit about your Audacious Path journey and what that looked like in this area.
A time that I struggled to follow my audacious path was pretty much my past life leading up until the last 6 years. I was in a relationship that was not aligned with who I am. I was going through the motions, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, and not really following my heart. Although I was in relationship, I felt super disconnected from who I am authentically. In fact, I don't really feel that I was authentically accepted for who I was. And I now understand that's because up until that point, I hadn't accepted myself authentically. I also really desired deep intimacy and passion in my relationship, but I didn't even know how to ask for it. I didn't even understand what vulnerability was or how to create it. And so I spent a lot of time feeling alone, totally disconnected, and like I was putting on an act more than anything else. I remember taking a course where we were talking about the Joe Dispenza book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and there's a part in there about the gap, which is the gap between who you present to the world to be and who you are authentically. And it was a huge wake-up call for me because I realized in that moment that I was completely living in this huge gap. I wasn't showing the world who I was. And so really my personal journey has been around intimacy, starting with myself, being intimate with myself, figuring out who I authentically was, who I authentically am, and then accepting it radically so that I could share it with the rest of the world. And this is what I teach my people to do now, my clients to do now. It's hard work, but it is so rewarding. And I just feel so grateful that I figured it out and that every day I get to show up as myself and just really be who I'm supposed to be on this planet. And through that, I'm giving other people permission to do the same.
Thank you so much, Erin. This is such a personal story, and I know that it was a journey because I have had similar experiences in my own life. I know that it takes time, it takes introspection, it takes vulnerability, as you said, and this is definitely a journey worth taking. Authenticity and living an authentic life means the world, means a completely different space, a completely different mind, a completely different way of living. So thank you again so much for sharing your story and what that meant for you in your life. And is there anything else that you wanted to share?
It was my absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. And if your listeners want to connect with me, the best way is either through Facebook or they can follow me on Instagram. But I just absolutely love teaching people how to be intimate, first with themselves and then with their partners, so that they can lead the juiciest lives possible I think we're all worthy and deserving of that.
Yes, absolutely. We are definitely all worthy. Thank you again for being here, and we look forward to having you listening again next time. This is the end of another episode of the Audacious Path Show, a micro podcast. For more inspiration and to listen to all episodes, go to audaciouspath.com and click on podcast, or look for us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search for the Audacious Path Show, a micro podcast. Please remember, you are not alone, and you are right where you are meant to be. Breathe in, and when you decide to do so, take the next step on your audacious path. Thank you so much for being here, and come and join us again next time. Here's to your audacious path.